Okay, so it's a nice chilly day in the forest. I'm going to be building a survival shelter, and it's going to be like kind of a learning video. I can show you guys the best way to build a shelter in this environment. I've used this technique a couple times, and it works out pretty good. Let's see how it goes. And sorry the quality of the video is kind of garbage, but my equipment is coming soon, so we will make better videos soon. And this particular forest has a lot of good material that we can use, so let's go find a spot. The first thing to do is find a good site to set up in a place where there's not going to be any flash floods or anything, and where it's not a crevice or anything where water could be pooling, because we don't want to be sleeping in that. So what I'm looking for is kind of like a flat area like this. This is just too deep and full of sticks. So we're looking for the flattest place, and that's where I'll be making the shelter. Oh yeah, right here is really good. Let's go. We even have a big stump we can put the camera on, just like right here, and then look down, and then that's where I'll build. Okay, so this should be a good spot. It's nice and flat, with some good needles. The first thing I do when I make a shelter is I build the bed. It's best to build the bed first, and then the skeleton, and then your rafters and stuff, and then your material on the top. It's kind of cold out. I'd say it's like only about 5 degrees, and the forest that we're in right now is very, very dense. So the sun doesn't really reach down here very much. We're kind of at like the bottom of the ocean in the forest here. There's a couple good areas with materials like ferns and moss that I'll be using. I'll try and get that on video as much as I can, but it's going to be a lot of running around. So without further ado, let's build a shelter. Okay, so now the site is cleared and it's time to go get some bedding. I've slept on worse, so this is going to be deluxe. Okay, now I'm going to go look for the material to build the frame of the shelter. So I don't use any tools when I build shelters, because this is my style, and I've worked on it, and I know how to get stuff done without tools, and that's a good survival tactic. It's a good survival ability. So this is how you do it without any saws or anything like that. It's so much cooler to do it with a saw, and people are like, wow, a saw. But what I'm building is a survival shelter. It's not a primitive shelter. A primitive shelter is just whatever interesting type of shelter you can build out of raw materials. But a survival shelter it's built for the purpose of keeping you alive through the night. So we don't do any fancy cuts or anything, we just get her done. So I just need 4 pieces like this, and this will begin to be kind of the support. That one kind of sucks. So I'm gonna keep looking around for another piece kind of like this. We'll just wing that over there with the other stuff. And here is our next support stick. There we go, 2 sticks. Here we go. Now I can already see that one's too hard to break. Here we go. You shall not. Just happened to see these purple mushrooms around here. That'll make a good lunch. Now I just need a ridge beam. That's pretty easy to find, just a long straight stick. Okay, let's start assembling our structure here. But the first thing that you want to do is lay down on the bed and make sure that it's long enough for you. Oh yeah. Oh, this is actually really comfy. Okay, so what we're gonna do first is get this and this. Oh, wait a minute. I forgot two pieces. One sec. Yeah, I just needed some extra pieces here. So what you do, I purposely made it so I didn't snap this top branch off. So what that does is it creates like a lock, and then you put the lock here, turn it around whatever way fits better, and you lock it nice and tight. And then this one, so it's kind of like a tripod, but it's a little bit uneven tripod, but you want to angle it a little bit in so it doesn't fall over. And then that goes there, that goes like that. And then you do the other two. And then you just put the ridge cap on. So that's the frame. And this type of shelter, I call it an Eyore House, because in Winnie the Pooh, Eyore always builds this kind of shelter and then it always falls down. But this one is actually pretty strong. Now the next part is to go get a whole bunch, like I'm talking about like 50 sticks, all this long. And that's a lot of repetition, so that's where most people fail when they're doing a survival shelter. Again, this is a survival shelter, it's not a primitive shelter. Its only purpose is to keep you warm. And the reason why it's so small and compact is because then your body heat can heat it up a little bit better, and then the heat doesn't just dissipate right away. And once it's completely done, we're going to fill it with tons of junk to keep the insulation in there. But we're not quite there yet, so let's go get the other sticks. I just found this massive bone. Pretty sure it's an elk bone because there's a lot of elk that live around here. Does it rattle? It's some kind of shaman's bone rattle. Pretty cool. We'll put her there. Well, I found these 2 other bones here, which are pretty cool. But then I was having so much fun, I was donking them around. It was so loud that it broke. And that's it. Comment down below if you have a bone. I mean like a bone, like on your body. A couple more sticks. I found a good load of sticks over there. So what I'm doing here is I'm filling in all the cracks. So wherever there's the biggest crack is where I put the next stick. And we'll do that just until we're done with all these sticks, and then the next part. Okay, now it's time to go get some branches. Okay, so we got some dry branches. What this is going to do is it's going to hold our next material, the outer stuff, on. And it's also going to make the whole thing a little bit more insulated. The only downside is it wrecks the nice look of how like nice and sheer that looks. You know, it looks so nice. And then you got to put this on. But survival is more important than things looking good. Okay, so I got some more sword ferns here. What I am going to do is kind of weave the ferns through the branches to act as kind of a little bit more water repellent. Okay, so the ferns are done. Now it's just time to put some moss on top. Moss. So I'm just going to put this on top, like that. So what the moss does is when it rains, it drops down and it soaks it up like a sponge. And then when the sun comes out, then it evaporates out of the moss, but it doesn't really go down below, which is pretty good, if you put it thick enough. This isn't quite enough, but I know it's not going to rain because there's no clouds in the sky. If there were long, skinny clouds with like the little wispy curl at the end, then I know it's going to rain, and then I would have made this a little bit thicker. But it's getting towards the end of the day, and I just want to show you guys the inside. But first, we need to go collect some grass. So here is the shelter. Let's go. I decided not to go get more grass because it's getting to be the end of the day and I only have 5% battery left. Okay, let's go in. Oh! Oh, it's so comfy. Yo, it's a bit twiggy and it's a bit drafty, but this is nice. Oh yeah. If you're new to bushcraft and you were planning on going out, just make sure you take an experienced guide and stay safe. And this video and this build is just for entertainment only. Subscribe if you like bones, and subscribe if you like the bush, and I'll see you in the next one.